today we're going to learn how to draw faces. I'm going to break down the proportions of it in an example, and then we're going to do the same thing with a reference and do a study of it. You know, if you can do this, follow along, pause the video as you need to, and try and draw a face with me. And if you do end up drawing a face and you want to share it or get feedback or ask what you did wrong or how you could improve it, you can join my school and share it there, and I will give you feedback. Without further ado, here's how I draw faces. What I like to do is draw a circle, and then I break it up into thirds, and then I add the chin underneath, which makes it adds a fourth section of equal amount, and then I draw the chin shape in there, attaching it there. It does not go to the very edge of the circle, typically, and I end up slicing off the edge of the sphere, right where the chin and jaw meet. Okay, so the top line is where the hairline is, or the first quarter down of this space, of this shape that I have. It's where the hairline is, and then the middle line is where the eyebrow is. And that's usually where the top of the ears are, depending on which way you're looking at it. And then at the bottom where the circle intersects is where the circle was, but the line from it is where the bottom of the nose is on the face. And then between there, it's about, between those two spots is the mouth is about halfway down. But I'm going to start with the eyebrows as the first feature that I add. And then I go through and draw in the overall shape of the nose. That's not how the drawing's going to look at the end. But I'm just putting in landmarks to figure out these shapes that are within the drawing. And the eyes take a while. You want to try and draw them, each part of the eye at the same time. Each eye at the same time as each other. That way you can keep it looking more consistent with each other, with each of them. And I will go back and redraw them anyways, because it's really hard to get a pair of eyes to draw together. It's probably the hardest part of drawing the face. And now I'm going through and adding kind of a chin shape, which extends the face down a little bit more. This can vary in the shape of different people's faces. So sometimes just adding in a variation to it, change it up. And for a mouth, you don't have to draw all of the lips. I like to just draw where like the mouth opening is, where it's really a dark line there. And your brain can kind of fill in the rest with where the lips are. And then underneath the lip, there's usually a little, like, I don't know if you can see it on my face right here. There's a little bit of a shadow underneath the lip. So I'm implying the shape there as well. Now I'm going back in and cleaning up the nose and getting rid of some of the overall shapes. And also going to go back and work on the eyes a few more times. And then I'll speed it up, drawing the hair. And that's pretty much how you draw a simple face. And there we have how the face came out. The eyes are still a little off, but with more time and adjustments, I would make them more accurate. You just need to spend more time on them. But for my demonstration purposes, I just wanted to give a quick demo of it. I recommend you go back and draw the eyes more. I recommend that I go back and actually redraw these eyes because they just look too different from each other. And they need more work. The mouth looks good. The nose looks good. The overall proportions, other than the eyes, look decent. And I like how things are laid out on here. And now I'm going to go show you how I draw a face with reference. So I start by drawing a sphere over the reference photo that I pulled from Pinterest, and then I basically just draw a circle, and then I basically what I just showed you, I will draw it over the portrait. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the opacity of the picture reference photo and then start drawing the proportions over it. So I will draw a third at the hairline, a third at the eyebrow, and then I will draw another equal segment of that under the chin. I'm kind of editing the circle a little bit to just get it more circular. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always adjust it as you go. And then I draw the bottom of the chin, and then I connect the sphere and the chin together. And where they connect, I will erase off the side of the face. And there's our overall head shape. It's not perfect. The top of it could be a little bit more round. It might be a little easier to draw without tracing over it and figuring out where the shape is. But breaking it down this way just lets you see the proportions a little better and kind of get these landmark spots to help keep track and keep organized of your drawing. Trying to breaking things down into different proportions and segments that are roughly the same length is going to be very useful when it comes to drawing. Right, I'm going to draw another circle, and so I went in, drew the circle, broke it into thirds, drew another line down to represent the distance from the nose to the bottom of the head. And now I'm drawing in the chin. I think I drew it a little too wide. I don't know, maybe it's better to add in cut off side of the sphere or circle first, because the sketch does come out looking a little bit wider. I don't really like the lines there. I want them to be a little bit cleaner. They're a little chicken scratchy for my liking. And just reminding myself that I need to get better with my line confidence. I should have had it not as wide because the hair, or because when I did the breakdown of the actual face, I had this, the chin was a lot smaller than the sphere that I drew. Okay, now I just go draw in the ears to basically work as another landmark. It shows where the top of the eyebrows are. Actually, it's more in line with the top of the eyes. So it's a little below the eyebrow line there, so I did that a little bit wrong. And now I'm just making some micro adjustments to the chin to get it to more of a shape that I like. Okay, trying to adjust the top of the head shape a little more accurate because I realize it looks a little wider. I spent some time readjusting that, sketching roughly the hair. And you don't have to draw the proportions exactly like this, but it's a good starting point to keep things in mind. I'm just drawing lines for where I think the length of the eyes will be. Usually when I'm working through a portrait, I will sometimes check it with my reference and slide it over it. And now I'm realizing that my face is a lot wider than the reference photo. I think I just shrink it down and that fixes it a little better. I didn't really help with the proportion because I just made it smaller. I didn't actually squish it together. I also draw a circle to represent where the ball of your nose, there's kind of like a ball shape on the tip of the nose. And eyes are difficult because you want them to be equal proportions away from each other, like one eye's width from each other. But you also need to make sure they kind of match each other. That's why I like to draw one part of the eye on each eye at the same time, like the top of it or the bottom of it. And I can probably go more in depth in the eyes, but for now I'm just putting in some simple shapes the best I can, as close to the reference. And now with the nose, there's something to understand here, is that the shape of it right between the eyes and eyebrows is kind of where the eye curves in, and it will make a shape. And if you looked at it from the side, it would kind of curve in there and arch out. So that explains kind of where the shape of the nose comes into. And that's why it's good to draw from a different angles, and you can see the three-dimensional shape of things to understand it a little bit better. And now I'm going back in and drawing in the nose. Kind of just roughly drawing in kind of where that shadow shows on the nose to imply shape there as well. Probably could have left that circle there just to keep it really clear on what I was drawing. But I could probably even go through and break down each feature on its own. That'd be a really long video to go through, but it would be sweet if I made something like that. Let's go through correcting the eyes. I'm getting them a little closer to where I like them. But again, eyes are the hardest part of the drawing. And there's also with the eyes, there is eyebrow, or the eyelids have like a small line over the top of the eye. And you can just draw a line to represent that. I'm also going back in and drawing this little shape in the eye for the little triangle, which is the tear duct. And now I'm going to go back and draw the mouth, which I really represent with just a little line, but the overall shape of it is kind of this stretched out M. It's a good way of thinking of it. So I go back and draw that. And then I also draw on, like I explained earlier with my first example, there's a little lip underneath the lip. That's probably why it's called a lip. But it leaves kind of this shadow underneath it. And usually we can simplify that by drawing this almost triangle shape under it. But I do draw that in. This is going to be a pain in the ass to edit. Drawing the chin shape there because it's subtle, you subtly see it. And then I go in and draw the jawline to connect to the chin. Then after some more, I flip the canvas just to see if things look off. And they do look off. I'm not really sure what's going on here. So you got to go back and correct and do it and move things. What I end up doing is just I use the select tool and make the eyes a little smaller. And they look a lot better proportions there. They just take away some of the darker lines that I have on the nose as well. Go back and draw in like that shadow crest that comes around the eyebrow. Now I'm kind of explaining where there's different planes of the face that kind of wrap around that. There's a little, you can see that a little bit of that subtly on the reference too. Probably just speed that up. But drawing a face, if you can memorize a certain formula, or not formula, but just the general proportions, it's going to make drawing a face way easier. I go back and check it. It's like the eyes are off. It's not a perfect drawing, but you shouldn't expect your drawings to be perfect anyways. And the more time you get to spend on them, the cleaner you can get them. But at a certain point, there's a diminishing return where it's not really worth it for some sketches, and it's just better to try again on another one and just get through some iteration of it. And there we have it fixed up with some quick editing tools. I hope you found that interesting, and if you want to see how I color portraits, let me know in the comments, and I will make a color video on it. And until next time, Dartagon out.